Hey, Megan.
Hey, Steph-a-rooney.
Hey, Taylor.
Hey,
Hello.
Taylor.
Welcome to Barn Besties
Thanks. I'm so happy to be here.
on a cold, chilly day.
Yeah, no kidding. That I'm not as
Megan's
happy
like
about.
got her biggest turtleneck ever on.
Nope, I got bigger. So,
Hmm,
I will
crazy.
start. We are here today with Taylor Spaude. Did I say it right?
You got it. Nailed
What?
it.
No chicken here. So, for everybody who's watching, Taylor has joined us. She is an adult amateur who lives in Milwaukee. She started riding at the age of 7 and eventually found the sport of dressage and eventing. While she mostly grew up on her Morgan quarter horse cross, she loves thoroughbreds. You have your first one when you were 15 and then have had them ever since. Currently rides at Winterhaven Farm in Grafton, Wisconsin, and trains under Sara McGowan. Did I say it right?
Sara McGowan. Yep.
We didn't practice
We can
that
practice that
one.
one.
And her wonderful horse is named Ziggy. He's a 2019 Off the Track Thoroughbred by Mixmaster out of Paige's World. His last race was October. Oh, I'm hearing feedback. Sorry, guys. His last race was October 2023, and then he had about a year of a letdown in the pasture where he just was able to be a horse and then was purchased to be retrained and resold. You acquired him Thanksgiving weekend 2024 from Ohio with only a handful of rides off the track horse. And your plan is to compete in dressage at the 2025 Retired Racehorse Project Thoroughbred Makeover. So that's pretty
Yes.
cool.
Yeah.
How cool
That's
is that? So
it.
tell us how you found the love of horses and why the thoroughbred.
It's good. Like I said, I got my first horse when I was 7 years old. It was a little pony named Pablo. And he was probably the worst thing a little 7-year-old kid could have gotten. He was the definition of a pony, bucked me off at every county fair, did all the things. But I loved him and he was great. And so basically have grown up with horses, moved on from the pony, got my Morgan Quarter Horse Cross that I grew up with. And then like I got into the thoroughbreds, like I said, when I was about 15 in high school. And I just loved their heart and their work ethic. And it's also just a pretty like affordable and accessible breed for us like normal folk. And so that was something that was, yeah, like I said, accessible for me and my family. And so once I had one, I just kind of continued down the path of the thoroughbreds and I haven't let go. So sometimes, they're sensitive and they're quirky and there's a bunch of stereotypes about them, but they also are super fun and game and smart and try the hardest. So yeah, I am in love with them.
You should talk a bit about how you got your current guy and get into all the good details. That's the stuff I want to know. I want to know.
Yeah,
I think it's
sounds
exciting to
good.
hear about the plan.
Yeah, for sure. So Ziggy, I was in the market for my next horse after I recently retired my previous horse, who I was doing eventing with, but his body and feet just weren't quite in a place that I wanted to continue pushing him down that avenue. So I retired him. I still have him, and he lives at my parents' house for now. And then I knew I didn't want to stop the sport of eventing. I knew I had goals I still wanted to complete, and so I didn't want to stop. And so with my very limited budget and my love for the thoroughbred, I was like, I think that's the route I'm going. So I did a lot of research, mostly on Facebook, just because I feel like that's mostly the market, or where it's held right now. So I did a lot of in search of ads, creeping on other people's in search of ads, trying to find something that seemed to fit the bill that I still had the good brain, the safe that I wanted, and then something that I could train through eventing. Um, I knew that my budget couldn't have something that had a lot of experience. And so I'm able to, thankfully, I have a good barn with a good team and a great trainer to help me through the process of bringing one up. And so when I was looking, I was also like, well, if I'm gonna go down the hole of a young one, I kind of want to take on the retired racehorse project. So I wanted something that was eligible for that. And then I saw Ziggy's ad. He just had the cutest little face. I'm wearing him on my shirt right now. So he has a little star and a little snip. And so I saw that picture and I was like, oh my God, he's adorable. And so I messaged the girl. She sent me some videos. And he, like I said, was in Ohio. And I had some others on my list that I was maybe going to go check out in Kentucky or other places. But I just couldn't really get him out of my head. I just thought he was super cute and I really liked everything she was sending me. So I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to have to take a trip to Ohio before I do anything else. And so I convinced my brother because nobody else was around because it was Thanksgiving weekend. And my brother thankfully agreed. So him and his dog came with me to Ohio. And it was about a 24-hour trip. We basically drove there. I tried them that night. We got there at like 5 o'clock, and it was obviously like winter time, so it was dark out and everything. I flatted him. I honestly hated it on the flat because it's been a really long time since I've ridden that green and young of a horse that it was just so it kind of threw me for a loop. And I remember thinking like, oh, I'm going home with an empty trailer, which I needed to be okay with, but I also really didn't want that. Um, but then I took him over a jump and he patted the ground and lifted his little knees, and I got all the butterflies in my tummy. And it was just like, ooh, okay, like that's cool. And so left the barn feeling very like conflicted, not sure what to do. Had all the phone calls with my trainer and friends and close people. Um, and still the next morning, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I drove to the barn and he had his little head sticking out of the stall door. And I was like, you're coming home with me. So we wrapped him up and we took him on the trailer and took him home. And we got a um, flat tire on the way home, and he did great just standing in the trailer as we fixed that. And so that was exciting and just a good testament to his quietness that he could just stand on the trailer all by himself as we were stranded in a gas station parking lot trying to change his tire. And thankfully, again, I had my brother with me because I would have had to call AAA and not sure what to do. Um, so yeah, then he got home and settled in, and it's been an adventure. So yeah.
We do have a question
Okay.
from one of our viewers. It says, hello, how did you get your experience in training? Did you have an apprenticeship? Did you, ride in college, etc.? So maybe you can speak to
Yeah.
probably why you wanted to take on a young green thoroughbred.
Yes. Yeah. So first of all, I am not a trainer. I am an adult amateur, so I don't have any formal. I do not call myself a trainer. Um, I have worked with some wonderful trainers though, and have dedicated my whole life so far, basically, especially from college to now. Um, and I'm like 6 years post college. And so I've really dedicated myself to programs and working for my trainer, grooming for her, going to all the shows, taking lessons, watching lessons, taking it all in. And like I said, I've been able to work with a lot of different horses, just putting myself in positions to do that. And just learning. I don't have a huge show record because frankly I haven't had like a great horse to go do the things with. It's always been something that has prevented me from, riding at any sort of higher level. But I've learned a lot and I've done a lot and I have a lot of great resources to help. So, um, yeah, I think that answered the question.
Yeah, so let's talk about like the goal and what's coming up for you two as a team, and then like, so what you need to be preparing for, and then what the expectation is at the event.
For sure. So the cool thing about the Retired Racehorse Project Thoroughbred Makeover is that we're all on an even playing field. So everyone couldn't start the retraining process till after December 1st of 2024. So every horse had to have less than 15 rides on them by that date. And so we all have had the same amount of time to retrain the horse. So I knew I wanted to do either dressage or eventing because that's what I want to do with him, period. I love dressage. I'm like not truly an eventer because I love dressage. But um, I didn't feel like because I'm not a professional, the timeline for the eventing felt a little too much as we were approaching the time to choose disciplines. So I did not end up entering in eventing. However, my goal with him still is to become my eventer. We've done various jump lessons. It's just a lot to ask of them in 10 months to do beginner novice eventing at the Kentucky Horse Park. So we are doing dressage, and that is going to be training level test 2. So we'll be doing that test for a judge, and then another section that's being um, scored is called a demonstration ride. So we have 5 minutes to essentially do like a freestyle. So just have to show walk, trot, canter, and any other movements that you feel like your horse can do well. And you just have 5 minutes to show that to the judge, and they're scoring you on basically the training pyramid. So where you're at on all those different components. So that score combined with your dressage score gives you your final score. And then that's for the preliminary competition. And then for the I think it's top 10 in each discipline, move on to the championship round, which then will do, I believe, another demonstration ride to music. So yeah, we'll see if we make it that far. I'll be happy if we make it in the ring, to be honest.
Oh, have higher expectations. Stop that. Stop setting the bar so low. Go for the gold.
That's true. Yeah.
Come on, quit that. Why even go if you're going to be like that? So my question is, I'm kind of confused. So do you all get the horses from the same location? Like, how does that work? And is he 6 now?
Mhm.
Can I add, right? So what is the timeline? Can you use any age of horse? So can you walk us through that? Like, and where are these competitors coming from?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So the horses can come from pretty much anywhere, and so are the trainers that are all applying. So anywhere in the U.S. I think people can even come from like Canada, all coming to the Kentucky Horse Park. You can get your horses from any place. A lot of times it's encouraged to get them from some sort of adoption agency, such as Secretariat Center, New Vocation, something like that. There's some different scholarships if you do get your horse from that type of second chance type adoption place. But then you can get your horse from anything. The eligibility for the racehorses, they need to have had their last race after, I hope I'm getting this right, July of 2023. So, and that's going to change every year. Like that deadline changes each year. So next year it'll be July of 2024 and that kind of stuff. So that it's always like similar situation horses. There's also a broodmare category. I don't know all the details on that because obviously I don't have a broodmare, but there's something that, I think if they didn't have any retraining and they just went from a racehorse to a broodmare, and now you're competing them in the Retired Racehorse Project. So this really is kind of a one and done kind of a thing. Once you do it once with the horse, they're not eligible anymore to do it, which is a big reason why I wanted to do it, because hopefully I never get the chance to do it again because he's just my forever horse and it's good. But some people do this every year with different horses. So they sometimes will get 1 to 3 horses and adopt them and take them through this process and show them. And sometimes people will advertise them at the makeover. So they have what's called the makeover marketplace, where they're kind of pushing these horses to go on to new homes. So that's a big mission of the Retired Racehorse Project, is kind of helping showcase the breed, show everything that they can do, and then help them find those forever homes with people. So it's a really great cause and a really great mission and a really cool thing for us to do.
Having a trouble unmuting my thing here. That's really cool. I think I had a friend that did adopted one a couple years ago and did the eventing, and I was impressed because, like you said, that's a lot to bring a
Mhm.
horse from, no more than what, 15 rides you said
Mhm.
when
Yep.
you get them, and then you're not only putting on like the steering, a
Yeah.
little bit beyond the basics of them just running straight, down the track, but
Yep.
the dressage, getting them out on cross country. So you're taking a racehorse out, out
Mhm.
into the wild open, the jumping in general, and then the stadium, because that takes a
Mhm.
lot of riabilities, to get around a stadium course, even beginner novice. I mean,
Right.
that's not, just outside, diagonal. It's not like a
No.
little, cross rails hunter course or anything. So
Right.
that's pretty cool. I meant to ask, like, so when you went and looked at him, do they generally kind of pre-vet them for people if they're coming through? I don't, like a rescue, do they, you know?
I think it depends a little bit on the rescue, but I think most of the time it's usually up to the person purchasing the horse to do the pre-purchase exam, whether you get them straight off a track, whether you get them through a secondhand adoption place. I know like some centers are more apt to having more records than not, so it kind of just depends on where you're getting them from. I didn't get Ziggy from an agency at all. It was just somebody who got him from a race connection. And she was planning to restart him, retrain him, but she also had a second horse that she's eventing. And she kind of quickly realized, like, this is kind of a lot. Maybe I should not do this. And thank goodness, because now he's mine. So yeah.
Can we talk? Hang on, Megan. How much did he race? I want to know about his racing career. 'Cause,
Yeah.
he's a thoroughbred, American
Yeah,
thoroughbred.
he is. Yeah. He raced 15, he had 15 starts. Um so yeah, and he won, oh, I'm gonna get this number wrong. Like I feel like he won like $15,000 or something. So he won a couple of times. So he yeah, I think I don't really get too into the race stats, to be completely honest. Some people I know really kind of geek out about that kind of stuff. He is a Medagliadoro thoroughbred, and so I do really like that line. So for people who are into the breeding, he has that. So I was intrigued by that. It was just another little bonus. So yeah, he was pretty decent.
That's so cool. Tell us about your process on when you brought him home. Like, did you have a plan? Did you give him like a couple days off, or did you start lunging, groundwork, and then so you've had him for 10 months. What have you been doing with him? What's the plan?
Yeah, sounds great. So when he thankfully already had a year off, so he last raced October of 2023. So he had about a year off before he was repurchased to be retrained. So I didn't thankfully have to do much letdown time. That's something that is super important if you get one off the track, to just kind of let them be a horse for a while. The lifestyle of a racehorse often is confined, and they have their job, but they don't often get to just live in a field and grow. And so when you get one straight off the track, it's important that you let them have that time. So thankfully, somebody did that for me, and I could just get right to it. When he did get settled into my barn, I was just, spending a lot of time brushing him, taking him into the arena, hand walking him, meeting his friends, getting out to pasture, just kind of taking about a week to just get to know each other and just spend time with each other without asking much of him. But at the same time, thoroughbreds are creatures of habit and routine. And so I didn't want to get too, spend too much time doing that kind of stuff, because I think they often find comfort in understanding what is being asked of them. So the concept of, okay, we come into the cross ties, we stand in the cross ties, you get brushed, you get tacked up, we go into the arena. So creating that routine for him to start to find comfort was really important. And then, as Steph mentioned, the whole steering thing, that was something we had to learn. So the first few rides were just it was a very different ride than what, and I think I alluded to the fact that I hated him on the flat when I first tried it. It wasn't him, it was just the fact that he was a very, very green baby horse who didn't know what was going on, had no idea what my leg meant, had no idea what my reins meant. Like, couldn't really put my leg on him without him, understanding. So I was like, what do I even do? I'm a competent rider, and here I am not knowing anything anymore. It's kind of what it felt like. But my main job with him was just to stay quiet and just to stay consistent for him. My arms weren't going, I wasn't micromanaging with my hands, I wasn't micromanaging with my legs or my seat. I was just being a consistent, steady person on his back. And so it was spending a lot of time walking. Oh, first of all, it was standing at the mounting block. That was the first thing we had to learn, because I don't like a horse that walks off at the mounting block. So he learned how to come with his little butt over to the mounting block, stand while I get on, give him his peppermint, and walk off when I asked him to walk off. So he had to learn that. He had to learn how to walk quietly on the reins. Um, and then it was just staying really consistent in all three gaits. And that was a huge test to me as a rider, because you can't fall for their lunging forward, or their slowing down, or going to the right, going to the left. You really have to stay centered and steady for them. And so that was a big learning test for me, is like, as a rider, can I do that when he's going all over the place? I just need to stay steady for him. And so that was a lot of my lessons, for at first, was just kind of, it was a lot of moments of like, what's going on, but then he slowly was starting to kind of figure it out, and then you'd have moments of like, okay, that's the future that we're looking at, that's really cool, good job, buddy. My trainer sat on him a few different times as well, just to help with that consistency. um, and mostly it was just, yeah, just doing that over and over and over and over again. And then suddenly it was like, oh, I can trot around and have a conversation with somebody, and it's not a big deal. And we can, keep this canter going without, going too fast or breaking to the trot when I squeeze my core. We can, those aids start to mean something instead of just doing whatever you want. And so once he kind of understood that, then it was cool, because you could start asking him a couple of things of like, can you move sideways? Can you slow down with just like a little half halt? Like, this is what a half halt is. Do you react to it? So it was really cool to see. And he's so incredibly smart. Like, it's really, really cool. When you're like, oh yeah, like you figured this out. And it's been really cool to figure out his like little quirks, and what he does when he gets anxious, what he does when he feels tense, how to mitigate that. It's been really cool to learn that. So then after we kind of started to get things going on the flats, we did go ahead and incorporate some pole work and cavaletti work right away, just to keep things interesting for him, strengthening his muscles. I worked really closely with Cairo Bodywork and Emily Rose, physical therapy. And so just to make sure that his body was well supported, as well as now that we're teaching him to use all these new muscles. Um, and then we got to go right outside. So getting out in the field, getting out in the outdoor arena, taking him on lots of packs, just to like see different things, learn to be confident in me and in himself, was really important. And he's gone to a couple shows at Silverwood, to get out into the show environment. He's been great there. So it was just a lot of just getting to know him getting to know me, and yes, working on our flat work and things like that to understand, but also just getting him that confidence that he needs to be able to to be comfortable when things get a little not comfortable. Yeah.
So how long did it take to kind of start the first process of just getting on, well, the mounting block, we'll put that part aside, but getting on, walking, bending, turning, walking, trotting, halting, like how
Yeah.
long did that come fairly quickly?
I would say it came fairly quickly because obviously, like, they're already broke, so it's not like you really have to break them out. They're used to having the tack and the rider and everything on them, um, and I mean, it's really crazy as long as you're clear with your aids on what you need with your body, like, they're really they pick up on that kind of stuff really quickly. And so being able to just be clear with like, nope, we're walking. If he starts to jig, it's like, no, my seat and core says we're walking. And they pretty much quickly figure that out. Thankfully, Ziggy's pretty balanced, so he has been good with picking up his leads correctly. That's often a big issue with thoroughbreds, is picking up, especially the right lead. Um, Thankfully, like I said, Ziggy has does pretty good job of picking up both leads. Um, but that's just something that you could just kind of you keep working on it, keep strengthening that, keep trying to put them in the right position to successfully do that. That's where it's just super helpful to work with a trainer and people that know more and can help them get their body in the right position because that's all it is. They just don't know. They don't know how to do that. And so if you can get them in the right spot, then suddenly they're like, oh, okay, that's what we need to do. It's easier, right? If they're prepped to pick up the right lead, it's going to be easier for them to do that than to be on the wrong lead. So um, I think I got off on a tangent there for a second. But yeah, so I would say, I mean, we probably had a good couple of months of just kind of doing walk, trot, canter where it felt kind of ugly. Um, but then I would say in kind of like that third, fourth, fifth month, I would say really only in the last like month or two has he really blossomed into like, oh, now I feel like I'm actually just riding a horse, like, and not something, where you don't really know what gates you're gonna be, working with underneath you. But he's really kind of only in the last month or two figured it out, to the point that he can comfortably he knows what my aids mean, he can move laterally, he can round and use himself correctly. Um, so I guess, yeah, 5-ish months probably.
That's not awful. Did he
No.
do kind of like, you hear and you see like the race horses are kind of taught to kind of grab and lean on the bit.
Mhm.
Was that challenging to overcome? Did he do that a lot because that was what he had learned and knew, or?
Yeah, it definitely is a thing for sure where they grab and lean on the bit, and that's something that I had to change as a rider, because it's so intuitive to just pull back when they do that, and turns out that's not what you should be doing. But it's fun, because naturally you're like, "You're pulling on me, don't do that." And so it was something that I had to learn of, like, it doesn't come you can't you're never gonna win that fight. And so learning how to use my other aids and keeping myself strong and tall in my body and preventing him from doing that in my body was much more successful. And then because he's a pretty well-balanced horse just naturally, I wouldn't say he that was a huge issue, for him. My previous horse, he's built more downhill, so he that was a constant issue, was getting him up off his forehand. So I think it kind of depends on the horse themselves. Ziggy particularly had, I would say his biggest like mouth thing was that when he got anxious, he would get stuck and he would like flap his head around. Um, and it was something that you kind of had to be like, okay, like that's not the answer. Like we tried correcting it, we tried, trying to figure out what to do, but it turns out I think it was kind of like an anxiety thing. He just didn't really know what to do with himself at that moment, and that was how he was expressing his frustration and anxiety. And that has actually gone away completely, which is really cool. It's a huge, like, I think, accolade to patience and training and things like that, that he's learned, like, okay, it's okay, we'll figure it out. So that was something that was big. Another thing that we've worked a lot with is like different bits. So I actually currently ride him in a trust bit. So it's not a metal bit. And I think that's pretty common for people to do on thoroughbreds, especially because it's such a um, they won't let them like really lean on it. Um, and if they do, like it's not a heavy bit to be able to pull them back. So a lot of times people will go to like the rubber or the leather, I think, and then slowly transition to metal. A lot of times too, like we've played with bits, like I don't keep a bit in his mouth and just like all the time ride in it. I can kind of mix it up and just see, how he does with one thing, and if he goes any better in it, if he goes any worse in it, I can put him back in the trust bit, like whatever. So just a constant game to play of like, let's try this, let's try that. So
That's cool. Have you ever thought about having a bit fitter come out?
yeah, so our barn has worked with Felicia Sackett. So she is great. I haven't had her out yet.
Have her
But
out,
she
have
is
her out.
okay. I need to do that. But yes, our barn has worked with her. So that's a good reminder that I should probably see what she has to say with it for sure.
She
Um, but
she's
yeah.
been a huge help when I am struggling with bidding horses. I think she's amazing. But my question, although you've kind of already answered a few of it, is have you had any tense moments? Has he offered to buck? Has he offered to like run? He's a racehorse, like, and how have you worked through that?
Yeah. So yes, he has bucked. He has bucked me off. And yeah, so I should the running definitely. I mean, that's their go-to is to just grab your bit and go. That it would happen more so at the trot actually than the canter. At least for him. He just really speed up. But I think what we kind of figured out was there's just some anxiety with that balance not being there. When he gets off balance and when he gets onto his forehand, he doesn't know what to do, so they just tumble, tumble, tumble. And so that was something we really worked on is just slowing the trot down, using my body, not using my hands really at all, and just teaching him to just slow the post, kind of doing a little bit of left rein, right rein, left rein, just to kind of supple him back up, and just continue to be in that balance and don't go faster than what the balance can handle. That was something that we worked really hard on, because that when it's like it's easy to just be like, oh, he's a racehorse, he's running around, but it's like, no, he's losing his balance. That's ultimately what it is. And so when you think about it that way, and you can think more about his shoulder wither front ends coming back, and slowing down that way, it's much easier. And using those back muscles and your core and everything to support that. Um, and so that was super helpful, and clear in our training. The bucking, yeah, he got me really good one time. The end of March, we were having a lesson. He had never offered to buck before. I do think it was a bit of a pain response. I don't know what it was at this point. He was trying really, really hard. He was extra anxious that day. He didn't want to trot. We were like, what's going on? We were trying to figure it out. And then he had enough and he dropped his head and just walloped one and I tumbled right off. It was a little scary. And I was like, "Hey, message was clear, received, got it." Um, and yeah, it was something none of us could be mad at him about it. It was it was just something that, my trainer was obviously there because it was in a lesson. She had another one of our students get on him afterwards just to see, and he was like kind of doing the same thing, and she's like, "You know what? We're calling it. I think he's trying to tell us there's something I don't think it's behavioral. I think it's physical. So he had chiro right away. We found out one of his hamstring muscles was super duper tight, so he might have done something in the pasture. It's hard to say. Um, but we spent a couple of weeks after that doing more lunge work than riding work just to make sure his body was feeling better and he was in a place that he could start doing riding work again. Um, I personally have a history of fear when it comes to bucking. I've had some good falls related to bucking. Um, and so I was nervous more that like I was more nervous that I wasn't going to be able to get past it or that it was going to really stall my training with him. Um, but I think what really helped was that I was pretty certain it was physical, and I don't think he meant to do it. I don't think it was naughty. And so that helped me get over it quicker because I was like, he was trying to that was how he was communicating to me that something was off. And so it's not a behavioral thing. So that gave me more confidence, and I've done a lot of work mentally to get over a different fear through the last 5, 6 years. Um, that now I have more tools that I can more quickly get to a place that I can be more confident again. And we haven't had any issues since.
Well, that's good. We do have another question from the audience. What breed of horse would you have other than a thoroughbred? You mentioned what you've had in the past, but is there something that you would, if you didn't have this
Hmm.
opportunity to get this guy, is there something that you were interested in maybe trying?
Oh my gosh.
Your most previous horse was you said Morgan Quarter
Morgan
Horse
Quarter
Cross?
Horse Cross.
Okay.
Yeah, she was my heart horse. She was the best horse. I think she was the horse that I think everybody would want their kid to grow up on. She was just solid. She did everything. Um, so yeah, she was awesome. I don't know what I would do.
Here in Wisconsin, Megan and
Paige.
I have talked about this previously. A lot of quarter horses, Arabians,
Yeah.
saddlebreds. In our young history, they seem to be very prevalent in Wisconsin.
Hmm.
Definitely the Morgans and the crosses. I
Yeah.
remember um, my friends had Arabians or quarter horses or Arabian quarter horse crosses, horse
Hmm.
saddlebreds, or I had saddlebreds. So there was a lot of that. But is there
Yeah.
anything that any breed? Maybe you didn't have one.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like my heart really kind of belongs to the thoroughbred. I'm like, you're listing all those off, and I'm like, yeah. I'm sure, like, I mean, I'm not a huge like breed person. I'm more just like, do they have the good brain? Do they have like the ability to do the job that I want to do and be successful? And I don't really care what it looks like or what it is, I guess, as long as it is safe and can do the things. So I don't know. I mean, I think I would love to have like a super fancy, like Hanoverian or something. But yeah, I don't know. Sorry.
I just got I just got a quarter horse in the barn, and now I think I get it.
Well, okay, that's true though. Like, I mean, I say I love the thoroughbreds, but my God, they're like fragile and sensitive and like a little bit annoying in that aspect. So, yeah, I would probably want something a little hardier. I think the quarter horse cross is probably a good, smart decision.
I just got a full quarter horse in, and I'm like, wow, there is no suspension. It is so easy to sit. He's
Yeah.
light, he's responsive. I'm like, huh. And he's short.
Hmm.
I mean, he's a little bit down. I mean, he's the typical quarter horse where you're like, ugh, he's downhill, big butt. But I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, I think I get why all these trainers go to the quarter horse. I mean, not for dressage,
Right.
even though dressage is for everyone. But I'm like, wow, I think I need to go into like Western pleasure. Like,
Right.
it's so easy. But
Yeah.
but anyway, back to the thoroughbred makeover. When is the date of the competition?
So the competition is, I believe the 8th is the Wednesday. So the preliminary competitions go Wednesday and Thursday, so October 8th and 9th. And then Friday the 10th is like a clinic day. So they opened up some clinics to
Mm-hmm.
the participants and some recent RRP graduates. And then Saturday is the preliminary competition. So we'll arrive to the Kentucky Horse Park either that Monday or Tuesday. It'll depend on when my ride time is. If I ride on Thursday, I'll probably show up on Tuesday just to save myself a night of hotel costs. But then but if I ride on Wednesday, I'll probably go on Monday just to get there and get settled, and have some time in the warm-up rings and things like that, just to let him see the grounds and everything first before we have to go show on Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah, so it's roughly 1 month away. What do you have planned for the next month? And do you have like a village coming with you to help and support you?
Yeah, so it's funny you asked that as we were just talking about sensitive thoroughbreds. Ziggy decided to be a little bit silly with the weather changing, and I think we're dealing with a little bit of tummy problems and tightness. In the last like week or so, is he's just been a little more tucked under himself and a little bit tighter. So we're gonna blame it on the weather change, and his pasture mate has a splint, so he's on stall rest right now. So maybe he's a little bit sad that his buddy's not there. Who knows? He's a sensitive redhead, so hard to say what it is. But the plans right now are just to keep kind of going with our training. Probably take one other off property experience to go ride our tests at an arena close by just to have the experience. He's done great at our weekend shows, but what I'd really like to do is test getting in the trailer, showing up to a place, riding the test, and going home. Instead of having like, even though in Kentucky we will have that longer period of time, I think it'll give us both a little confidence if we can show up somewhere new and get right to work and do what we do at home at a different place, and then go from there. So it'll just be a lot of, I think in this last month, training wise, we're pretty much where I want to be. He's doing a really great job. I'm really happy. There's obviously we'll keep working on it, but I think for me especially, it's going to be mental work. Just making sure that I am showing up my best for him,
Mhm.
because I'm going to need to be his confidence in this, and especially in such a big environment like the Kentucky Horse Park. I'm going to need to put a lot of work in my mind this next month as I go. I know, Megan, you gave me a hard time for saying I just want to show up, but I do often put a lot of pressure on myself. And so, while yes, I do want to make it in the ring and I do want to do all of the things, I think it's a win in itself just to get to Kentucky, and to get there. But I would love to be able to make it ride again on Saturday.
Yeah, go for
And
it. And
so
do
yeah.
you compete in the Alltech arena or is it
We'll be
out
in
somewhere?
the Walnut Arena. So it's
Okay,
one
so
of the.
outside.
Yep.
Okay,
They
cool.
used to do it. I'm kind of bummed they used to do it in the actual Rolex Arena, um, which would have been so cool. But I think it's just a little too expensive or something now that they're not using it. I also think it would have been a way more overwhelming environment for the horse, so it's probably better. But selfishly, I was like, how cool would it be to ride in the Rolex Arena? But that's okay. The Walnut Arena will be good enough.
So when did you have to declare? I don't know if you call it declare or enter, or when did you have to
Yeah.
say, I mean, you knew the rules, you knew when you got the horse, you knew he was qualified. When did you have to like sign up and be like, we're doing this? And like, was there I'm putting my name out, is there's interest, and then like a certain number of days or months later, you could be like, yep, I'm all in. Here's my entry. How does that work?
Yeah. So the application process opens, I think in December or January, and then you had to have your application done, I think by the end of January. So that was just like declaring, you had to talk about who you are, your experience, all the things. You had to submit video of yourself riding, and because they obviously want to make sure that the people that are doing this are competent and able to get a horse through the process, and talk a little bit about your training experience and things like that. And then you got notified of your acceptance, I think like mid-February. They send out emails to everyone who has been accepted. So they call you the trainer. Again, like that's a loose term because I'm not actually a trainer. But that's what they refer to the riders at the makeover. So once you are accepted, then you have kind of a decent chunk of time, because then your final entries, I actually just submitted my final entry in August. So they opened up in August, um, the final entry. So you had to pay your final fees and everything, and then declare your discipline. So it was actually pretty nice that you didn't have to actually say what discipline you were doing, because a lot of times plans change, right? Like when I first submitted my application back in January, I was like, oh, probably like eventing and dressage. Now come August, I'm like, there's no way I'm ready to do beginner novice eventing with him, so I'm just going to declare dressage. And I should also say too that there's a lot of different disciplines in this makeover. So there's I'm not going to name them all probably, but there's obviously dressage, eventing, show jumping, hunter, polo, obstacle, freestyle, barrel racing. Trying to think what else. I'm missing two because I think there's 10. But there's all sorts of disciplines. So it's not just like English. There's, I think there's, yeah, maybe roping or cattle, something. So there's something for everyone, which is also super cool, because you'll get to see this in the week of the same breed of horse getting to do all these different things. And you can declare up to 2 disciplines with the same horse. So I could do like dressage and show jumping, or dressage and eventing. So you can do multiple disciplines with the same horse, which is cool too. So those final decisions had to be made in August. And then after that, you're pretty much good to go. You had to have your horse needed to be accepted, obviously, too. So they needed to have they needed to make sure that they were eligible and everything like that, too. So you have to provide information for you as the rider, and then information for you as the horse to be able to get accepted. And they are all over the country, people coming in. So it's gonna be really cool. We have a Facebook group that has all the trainers on. So this whole time we've been sharing different pictures and stuff throughout the journey. I can tell it's a really awesome group of people. I'm sharing a tack stall with some people that I'll meet in October. So I'm excited for that. And it just seems like a really great group of people. And I think it's gonna be really cool that we're all in the same boat with it. And it's gonna be really fun to talk about our different journeys, and what the different milestones we've hit and lows that we've had and things like that throughout this whole, because as you guys know, horses are not linear in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, it's been really cool, really welcoming, a really great process, and a really kind of an easy process. They've had lots of webinars to keep the trainers up to date, especially those. This is obviously my first time doing this. So it's been really clear and easy. They do have some different like veterinarian requirements. So the horses need to be microchipped, and you need to know your microchip number. They need to have been vaccinated with the EHV1 vaccine within a certain amount of time. I'll need to have my health certificate within 30 days. So I have that scheduled for the end of September, so that it's totally good to cover me there and back. So yeah, a few different hoops to jump through, but overall the process has been pretty easy and good. The application process, the writing process has been a journey, but the application process has been great. And then the tribe going with me, I have my best friend coming. She's done the retired racehorse project twice, with 2 of her horses. So she's the main one that was like encouraging me to do it anyways. So she is my emotional support human being. She's my person. And so I'm really excited to do this with her. And then I think I might have a few other people, maybe my mom coming, but we're the two confirmed. Confirmed we're going to Kentuckiers, and then we'll see who else shows up.
I see Megan's giving me the hairy eyeball. Wants me to ask more questions. Do they have a limit as to how many like you get accepted? And I'm assuming they know there will be some attrition and the numbers will scrunch down. Like, is
Mhm.
there a limit for, like you said, there's 8 to 10 disciplines that you could have chosen, or like, is there a limit on the entries for each discipline, or
Yeah.
how does that work?
There are like there are limits to the disciplines. Like I know dressage is actually one of the most popular ones. So they did like encourage us if we were planning on doing dressage to sign up sooner rather than later. They said it's only happened like maybe I think once that they filled up and they had to waitlist people. So I of course was nervous because I was like, I'm only planning on doing dressage. So like as soon as the registration came out, I was like signed up because I didn't want to take any chances. So, but I think it's fine. I'm not sure if there's a limit to the um, like full on trainer number. I don't actually know the answer to that. Um, but I do know, like, it definitely dwindles as we go because things can change from January to August for sure. So, whether it's a horse that had to got injured or something, couldn't do it, a rider got injured, whatever it is, it's hard to say what could happen, but things definitely do happen. So, even now I'm like, don't get hurt. Nobody get hurt. So.
You said you got him in Ohio, but like, where did he race? Do you
I am such a bad owner. I should know
Okay.
this.
It's
Um,
fine if you don't. I was just
I
curious.
was gonna say if anyone's watching that does race stuff, his jockey club name is Mixter Jensen. You can go look him up.
Oh, that's cool. Like,
Yeah.
so you got him last winter. I'm just laughing because I've had thoroughbreds and they are usually not real thrilled with winter. So how did he handle the transition from Ohio to Wisconsin last winter?
Yeah.
'Cause it could be fun
Thankfully,
here.
yeah, thankfully the weather was pretty similar in Ohio to Wisconsin, so I don't think there was a ton of transition. And I kind of have a blanket hoarding problem, and I really like buying like really nice cozy blankets for them. And so I think he was like, "Wow, this is really nice, actually." Like he's got like the big stall with like lots of bedding and like cozy blankets with hoods, and they always stay clean because I have multiples of each, and I'm a little bit of a psychopath. That's like, "Oh, that's dirty. Throw that away. Get washed." Put on a clean one. So I think he handled the transition actually pretty well. Um, and I think it's just extra. Like I definitely take more time in the winter time to make sure they have a good warm up and everything. Make sure I use a lot of like back on track beamer equipment just to like make sure their muscles warm up before I ask them to do anything. Um, so I think that's helpful too.
This is just so cool. I'm such a planner. So how far out did you plan the trip, right? Like, cause that's also a huge piece in competition. I think it's all a game, but like for me, I have certain places I like to stay at, like Airbnbs. I also I cold plunge, so I have a so if you need a cold plunge place, I can hook
Good to
you up in
know.
Kentucky. But I think also like not only mindset, but like your routine, your horse's routine. Also, if you are working on mindset, like do you get away from the horse show? Like go sightseeing, like get out
Mhm.
of your head. Like are you going to do that? Like what kind of things are you going to do, and how did you plan your trip?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am also a pretty big planner and make lots of lists. And I like even when I was horse shopping, I made an entire like slideshow deck of like all the different horses with like their pros and their cons and all that kind of stuff with like pictures and all the things. Um, and so I did a very similar thing with the trip. When I was looking at hotels and everything, I looked at hotels, Airbnbs, and I mean, it's not cheap spending a week away. Um, and it's all my own money, that I'm spending. I'm not sponsored by anybody. I'm not getting any financial help for anything. This is just me doing it because I want to do it. Um, and so it was finding hotels that were refundable. It was one of the things because I was like, it's horses. I don't know. And so I wanted to make sure that that was something, and I wanted to make sure that, yeah, it was cancelable and that the reviews were good and stuff. I spent a lot of time. I need to be clean and sleep well, in order to show up. So I think that awareness of myself, um, I made sure that I'm in a Marriott hotel because I'm like, they are clean and good. And like, I will be able to leave the barn, and it's only 10 minutes from the Kentucky Horse Park. That was another thing. I wanted to be close because I like to be there right away in the morning to give the Ulster Guard, feed, walk, whatever I need to do. And same thing late at night. And so knowing that that was something that's important to me when we're showing is that I'm the one laying my hands and eyes on my horse the entire time. I wanted to make sure we weren't too far away from the barn. And so finding the right location, finding the right hotel that I was going to be close and comfortable at, was very important. So I did a lot of research there, lots of review readings and things like that to make sure I was in a good spot for that. And I booked it right away because they fill up. I mean, I booked my hotel shortly after I got my confirmation email that I was accepted. So I think I booked it back in like February or March. Um, and so booked that right away. The stabling, you get your stall for the whole week. So it was just one cost. There's a Tractor Supply really close by to the Kentucky Horse Park, so I'll bring bedding for day when we get there, but then I'm able to go get more of shavings and things like that, which is really good. We'll have our beamer. I'll pack all his food and everything so that we have plenty of that. Um, and then, yeah, we do plan on going sightseeing. My friend who's done this before, she used to go to Kentucky all the time. She used to live there for a little bit, so she's got a lot of connections to different barns and stuff. I really want to go tour like the Secretariat Center. I think that would be really cool to go see. I'd love to go to a track, maybe watch them breeze horses at some point. That would be really fun. I'm really excited to go out to eat all the time and like have some like Kentucky drinks and like good food. And so as much as this is like a super fun trip with my horse, it's also going to be a really super fun trip with my girlfriends. And so, it's going to be fun to just have such a good rejuvenating like week with my best people and my best horse and just have a good time.
That sounds like a lot of fun and good. It's good that you're looking forward to it other than putting all that stress on of it's just a show week and
Yeah.
because it is beautiful down in Kentucky and there's a
Yeah.
ton of things to go see. So that's
I think that was
awesome.
super important to me too, like when taking on this thought, and I put this in my application too, like I'm like, the retired racehorse project is just like the first little drop in our like list of events that we're doing. It's not the end goal by any means. I bought Ziggy as my next long-term partner. And so I wanted to do this because this is literally the only time he's going to be able to do this. And so I wanted to take this on, but I'm not, it is what it is. Like, whatever ends up happening, like, it's okay because it's only like one thing that we're doing versus the whole like future we have ahead of us. And so I think having that mindset really takes the pressure off a bit because it's just like, um, it's okay if, whatever happens, as long as I'm having a good time, he's having a good time, and we're just having a good time together. That's all that matters.
So we should shout out to all the various resources that people can look to. Like, where would they find more information on, like, looking to adopt and about this
Yeah.
whole program, and any places they should go looking and researching?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Retired Racehorse Project's website, I think it really is just www.retiredraceHorseproject.com. And they have a really great website with a lot of information about the Thoroughbred Makeover. They have a lot of links to different secondhand, that's not the right word, but adoption places and things for thoroughbreds. Secretariat centers, great. I'll shout them out for sure. New Vocations, Cantor, those are all really great places to buy or to adopt thoroughbreds. Otherwise, I mean, a lot of the tracks, like if you have connections to someone at the track or find someone who has connections at a track, you can get them quickly off the track. That's very common as well. Um, so yeah, there's a lot out there. Um, Facebook is a great place too. I mean, it really has turned into a good market for horse people. And so definitely utilize that. Retired Racehorse Project is on all the social medias as well, Facebook, Instagram. Um, so definitely check them out. There's lots of information out there. It's a really great cause. They're doing a really great job um, with this mission, and I'm very excited to be a part of that.
I guess there was one thing I forgot to ask. Is there an age, like a lower age threshold? Because they race thoroughbreds at 2 years old. Like, so could you get a late 2 year old and as a 3 year old do this? Or how do they have a limit and say, we don't want them
Um,
until they're at least 4 to be able to go into this
That's a
program?
good question. I don't remember off the top of my head if that is a rule or not, um, or if it's just like their racing date. Um, I don't know actually. I would almost like hope that they have a rule against that because that's super young. But yeah, I don't actually know. That's a good question.
I just thought I'd throw that out there because I was like, oh, I guess we didn't ever ask that, because they start them as yearlings
They
and then
start them
they're
really
racing them
young.
at
Yeah.
2 years old, and yeah, so
Hmm.
an interesting thought. Well, Megan, do you have any more questions, Miss Meggers?
I don't, but
Okay,
I want to say I'm rooting for you,
yeah,
and
Thank you.
you know, change that attitude, man. Go in there and you just
Go for
have
the
a
goals.
wonderful, wonderful time with your horse.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
whatever he needs, do it. But yeah, believe that you're gonna go in there and you're gonna learn some things about him, and he's gonna learn some things about you, and you're just gonna be amazing.
Thank you. Yeah. I will just kind of plug my Instagram.
Yeah.
I have like a Instagram for him and for our journey.
Mhm.
So I try to do a lot of like video edits and things like that just to kind of keep a diary, mostly for myself, just to be able to look back and see how far we've come. So that's Team Ziggy RRP. And on there too, we have there's like a make the makeover link. So
Mhm.
each trainer can create kind of a fundraiser for themselves. So
Oh,
if
fun.
you raise enough money, I think it's $1,000. If you raise $1,000, then you actually get some entry fee money back. So,
Woo!
but all of that $1,000 will go towards the makeover, and that's what helps keep the makeover running every year. But then yeah, as an added bonus, if I get $1,000, get some money back. So check out my Instagram. You can click
Yeah.
the link in my bio and you can donate if you want.
Yeah. Well,
So
where are you at? What do you need to raise?
I think I'm at almost 300. So I have a little bit of a push this next month to get there. So
Come on,
um
guys. Well,
yeah.
hopefully someone in Barn Besties is watching. And yeah, we're gonna cheer you on and you're gonna do
Thanks.
it.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Yeah, it'll be good. Thanks so much, guys.
you should
Well, thank you.
definitely send us your links, I should say, plural, and we'll drop them down in the description, add them into the description, so people know
Sounds
how to find
good.
you. I did put it in the live chat. Is this look correct?
Yes. Yep.
All one word there.
Yep.
So that's your Instagram, right?
Yep. Yep.
I flashed it on the screen because unfortunately the live chat has this tendency of disappearing when we're done.
Mm.
So flashed it on the screen. That's your Instagram. And
Perfect.
does he have his own page on Facebook?
So I tried, but honestly, I do more on the Instagram than I do the Facebook. So, yeah, it is on Facebook, but the Instagram's been a little easier for me to keep up with. So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. This has
Yeah.
been awesome, and
Yeah.
I'm going to be following you on Instagram. I already
Awesome.
do, but yeah, I'll be liking things more.
There we go. Yeah, I'm super excited. Hopefully, in a little over a month, we have some awesome, exciting adventures, stories to be told. So
Are you going to be vlogging on Instagram?
I kind of want to. I kind of
think you
want to
should.
like, yeah, like I kind of want to do like YouTube or
Do some
something
reels
to,
on Instagram.
yeah,
I think you
yeah,
can share them between Instagram, all the meta platforms. So I think you can do that.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
that'd be
probably
great.
will. I think I will just because, yeah, like I said, I think it's fun and I think it's cool to look back on it and, um,
Absolutely.
yeah, super fun. So,
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for this. We
yeah, thanks,
absolutely
guys.
loved learning more. Super excited to hear how it goes.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's
Team
been super fun.
Wisconsin, right?
Yeah, woo!
Come
Team
on,
Go
Milwaukee,
team
Wisconsin.
Ziggy.
Team
Go
Ziggy.
Team
Yeah,
Ziggy.
that's fantastic. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Make sure you're subscribed, right? Right, Miss Megan?
That's right. Hit the subscribe button. Thank you all for watching, and
Yeah.
go Team Ziggy.
Yep.
Yay.
Thanks, Taylor.
Thank you.
Everybody have a great night. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye, guys.